righty. See the lions come rolling in. Oh, man. What a week we're having. Let's see what's going on here. And the first one's up. So who's in the house? So we got a bunch of people coming in from Facebook. Hey there, Terry. Glad you made it. I've gotten a lot of calls, and I got off a call with Jeff today, and detailed him all the math, the metrics, and explained to him what it all meant. And he was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so relieved to hear this." He understood it. And the thing I'm running into is a lot of people that don't understand. And really, it's pretty basic math. It's just the numbers that are there. It's not a twisting of the numbers or the information. It's just reporting what is there. So it's really important for people to step up their game. And then it comes down to, who do you trust, with information? And the one thing we pride ourselves here at the Lions Den is that we get out the truth as much as possible. It's really the only thing that's going to help us out or get everybody on board. The truth is way more interesting, and it's way more effective when you come from that basis. So, all right. So who do we got in the house? We got Dwayna's in the house. Hey, Sherry. Got Sherry too. And Dwayna, Steve Farley, Mr. Farley. Awesome. Hey, Pat. Good to see you. But we got Trump at the same time. Wow, I didn't realize that. And Miss Terry from Silver Lake. That's Jace's mom. And I met a second Jace recently too, by the way. The only two Jaces I've ever known in my life. Hey, Mr. Wilson's in the house. And of course, LD. Sup, dog. Yeah. And Miss Green, good to see you. Okay. So what we're going to start with here real quick is our introduction. So welcome, Lions. I'm Paul Romero, your host and write-in candidate for Oregon governor. Why do I run for office? Is it to be a good fighter? No. Is it to be a spiritual guide for the masses? No. Is it to feed my ego? No. The simple fact is, it's work. It's real work. It's work preparing for this. It's work to get in there more so than I've probably ever done in my life. So it's my goal to find a way really to live a pleasant life, right? And I guess in the best case scenario, that I can also support others to find the same. I think we all want a good, decent, healthy, happy, pleasant life. Unfortunately, we have people that really go for the power play, and unfortunately, the lowest common denominator seems to get there more often than not, and we all get stuck with the results. Now, if I don't find a way to reduce the suffering in my own state and country, what is experienced by all Oregonians, then my own suffering will not stop. Part of the reason I've run for office is because I see the problems. I see that the people that we put in office aren't fixing any of the problems. They make lots of excuses. They create bigger problems. And I'm fed up with it. I'm sick and tired of it. And I know everybody out there is in the same boat. But what's the difference between somebody who actually supports me as a write-in candidate and those that don't? Well, there's those that don't, they settle, they compromise. And those people, to be honest, probably should never be in office because they can't be trusted to hold the line. And that's the job. So, why do I have this never give up, never surrender mentality? Even when the evil elements try to impose their own nature of quitting on me, people keep trying to convince me to quit. No, because the simple fact is, it's not in my nature to give up or surrender. Now, I'm a fighter in the arena of life. That is who I've been. And this battle is happening on many levels. It's emotional, it's physical, it's intellectual, and it's spiritual. Okay? Now, whether we know it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not doesn't matter. It is the battlefield we find ourselves on, and we must fight this battle however we can with whatever we each can offer. Now, the recovery and restoration of Oregon to a constitutional state is our trophy. Okay. Now, the thing I'm trying to get is everybody to let's all get on the field of battle and do whatever it is that we each can do. Now, I can't win this on my own, nor do I want to. And never, ever, ever in running for office have I ever thought I could win something like this on my own. Okay? The victory and the efforts to get there must be shared. So please join Team Oregon and share my contract with Oregon and the other write-in candidate flyers. We can do this. It's just a matter of if we together will do this. I'm all in, and I know many of you are all in too. But let's get the rest of Oregon to go all in as well, because it's going to take every one of us. And I will get into the numbers again for those that have missed it and want to share this video. We're going to tighten it up a bit. So now something that's, and I'm going to rehash this, that is a paramount concern for all Oregon voters. Not only is it imperative that we take the time to write in Paul Romero for governor, Michael Stetler for U.S. Senate, Thomas Zoll for CD4, and Caleb Abel for House District 1. But you also must deliver your ballot in person to your clerk of court on Election Day. Why? First, there is the issue of the U.S. Postal Service, and that way they actually turn off their counters when it comes into the mail-in ballots, and I see this as a huge problem. There's no legitimacy to them turning off those counters. Okay. Second, there's an algorithm somewhere. By the way, that also has a lot to do with the fact that we used to have to put our own stamps on it. When you put your own stamp on it, well, they kind of needed to count that because that's how they count their revenue, right? The incoming versus what they sold in stamps. But now that there are no stamps, well, they're not too concerned about it because they're getting paid no matter what. The question is, are they being paid on every ballot that's been sent out and for the one to come back? And if it doesn't come back, that's free money, right? So I'm not really sure about how that works, but I have a bad feeling it is how it works. What else we have? But second, there is an algorithm somewhere out there that may be voting your ballot in advance. So you checking with your county clerk to make sure they don't already have a record of you receiving your ballot is important. This is a big deal. Okay. So you got to make sure that they don't have a record of receiving your ballot yet, and then turn yours in. Third, voter turnout numbers are important to the algorithms equation. So let's throw every monkey wrench we can into their machine. Fourth, write-in ballots. When there are higher percentage than any of the other candidates in a single race, they must be hand counted. Okay? And it's very difficult to predict such numbers in advance when people wait till the last day and write in candidates. Now, also, you want to check with your county clerk who else is listed at your address. Okay? There have been many whose home addresses were changed without their knowledge, and there's a whole lot of people that have up to 10 people registered their address, but there's only 2, and they don't know who those other 8 people are. This has actually been happening. I've known a few people who are going through the immigration process here in Oregon, and they have been receiving ballots in the mail. They're not supposed to. Until they are an American citizen, they do not get to vote. So even though they've put all that information to the DMV, to the state, they're still kicking out ballots to them. Thankfully, they're honest people. They want to be Americans. They're trying to play by the rules. I fully respect that. And there have been also many of those people's addresses getting changed. So sometimes they're not even receiving the ballots. So stay on top of that. Ballots start coming out in about 10 days on the 19th. And that's when this really gets rolled off. It's going to be really important. Talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors, talk to everybody you can, and let them know about these write-in candidates, including myself. And then go to my website, read the contract with Oregon. That will be a huge help to them. And maybe you might be able to supply them with one. If you've asked for one, send it via email. That's the full 8-page updated copy of that. And that's a little bit bigger than the one I have on the website, which, we had a problem with our web guy. He's been very, very sick and incapacitated with nobody to back him up. So we're trying to get that remedy. Okay, so moving on. Remember about 18 months ago when they came out with that whole toxic masculinity thing, right? The new feminism wasn't about feminism at all. It was about the emasculation of men. Okay. This was and is an effort to turn more men into the weak soy boy delta males. Okay. These are people they don't have to worry about the alpha males. Alpha males are dangerous for enemies of our people, right? And this is important. But this results in the lack of protection for women and children. Masculinity is a good thing, and we need to protect that. Men, you need to be men. Ladies, be ladies. But you know what? Does that limit you in any way? No. Matter of fact, ladies can bear children and do all kinds of stuff that us men can't do. But at the same time, in the work front, well, if they want to be welders, they can be welders. If they want to be doctors, they can be doctors. Lawyers, doesn't matter. There's no real discrimination in that capacity. It's just a matter of what people want to do or what people are physically able to do. And then also, of course, there's mentally able to do. Now, then about a year ago, they started appropriating women. That was taking away everything that women are and taking away the power of women. Okay? They called women birthing people and chest feeding person. Right? All to take away what it is to be a woman, And I always run into people, they complain about, well, they don't treat me so very good. I say, okay, if you want to be treated like a lady, act like a lady. It's a pretty simple equation. It's not really different. And if you're dealing with guys who don't want to do that and play by the rules, well, then moving on. But fundamentally, why would they do this? Why are they reducing women as moms? Why are they reducing that to nothing? They do this so that women would not be so protective of their children and from taking the position of destroying anyone who might attack their children, right? Mama bears, right? That's what they're doing. They're trying to undermine that. So about 6 months ago, they started to do more public grooming of children in support of pedophiles. Now, this becomes easier when you have men who won't protect women and children and the family unit. And then you have women who won't stand up and protect their children. This is psychological warfare, okay, on America and the family unit. All of this shifts the sand underneath our feet. And if we allow this to progress, well, their goal here in America, the best way to destroy us is to destroy the family unit. And they have done a very good job of it. And we've been asleep at the wheel. But we are no longer asleep now. And because of that, that's why we have to draw that line in the sand, not in front of them, but behind them, and get them to back off. So don't be afraid to take your rights. You have your rights, but you got to defend them. Now, know this. You cannot appease those who seek to rule and destroy all of us, ever. You either fight in whatever capacity you have, or you lose. Okay? But together we can actually win this because we greatly outnumber them. It's important to know. Not to mention the fact they're going to probably have to leave the country to survive because they've created such a mess. And now that they're exposed to the light, they operate in the shadow. They can't operate in the light like we can. So keep that in mind. Now, with the ballot measures that are out there, I keep seeing the ballot measure for ballot measure 114, which I totally understand why that's out there. I guess, my problem is that if they're going to say no to that on that side, they should be saying no to all the ballot measures, 111, 112, and 113, and 114. Now, first measure, ballot 111, just say no, okay? This is how you're going to remember this, guys. Just say no. Basically, will result in the ban on all private health care, which will precipitate Oregon trying to run its own socialized health care. Now, when Obamacare was passed and failed across the board, it cost taxpayers billions. And what did we get? Well, ends up nationwide, about 11 million people actually got some kind of health care, but the remaining 300 plus million people got nothing. Think about all the people that worked for major corporations that had health care built in. They were good to go. They were happy. And all of a sudden that just vaporized, right? Because see, then healthcare and insurance and all this started getting money for nothing. And the more money they can put away and not actually have to do anything for it, it's all about the bottom line, right? Okay. So, oh, and by the way, this whole thing is going to actually increase your income tax, potentially for some people up to 15%. Now, Oregonians cannot allow or afford where we are now, right? So the idea that OHA is going to get a whole lot bigger, sucks up more money, and accomplishes little to nothing, well, I can't support that. Can you? And even if I wanted to support it, I couldn't afford it. So I'm saying no to Measure 111. Now, second, we have Measure 112. Now, Measure 112 changes language in the Oregon Constitution to remove any loophole allowing for what they're calling the use of slavery or involuntary servitude. Section 34 of the Oregon's Constitution currently permits the use of slavery or involuntary servitude as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. Well, here's the thing, guys. As taxpayers, we're already paying for all the prisons that are being built, right? Okay, that way we have someplace to store them to people that choose to be criminals. And then the next thing we could do is we get to pay for their well-being, their health care. Currently, they want to change sexes and all that good stuff, which shouldn't even be going on. We're paying for that also. So they do the crime, they're doing the time, but we pay the bill nonstop. Well, my attitude is this, is if you're going to be in jail, in prison, we probably should get some type of productivity out of you. You should earn and pay for your way while you're there. Room, board, all that good stuff, right? So what better way than to have them working on, well, to be honest, chain gangs. Go work out on the highway. Go work out in the high desert, removing junipers that we don't need there, sucking up water. There's a reason for that. And by preventing this from happening, I'm sorry, guys, but no. It's in our Constitution for a reason. It was very well thought out. In this day and age, we have Kate Brown releasing legitimate, serious criminals back into the public. If they're smart, they'll get out of the state of Oregon before I become governor. Because no, we're not going to tolerate that. So again, we're back to no on 111 and no on 112. Now, third is Measure 113. Again, just say no. This gives any supermajority in our legislature, the House and or Senate, absolute power and steals our voter rights. Well, how does it take our voter rights? Well, what it is it allows the majority to remove our duly elected representatives for representing us in any way, which they can, which includes walking out or denying quorum. And by the way, that is a process that the Democrats have used effectively when they were the minority party to prevent things from happening in the legislature. So it's okay for them to do it, but they want to make it not okay for us. And in the course of that, they want to violate all of our voter rights where we voted in somebody to represent us. Now, granted, I think we're all becoming painfully aware that a lot of our representatives aren't actually representing us, okay? They're doing what they want to do. They're doing what the people that pay them want them to do, but they're not really representing us, okay? So basically, it's okay for Democrats, but not okay for Republicans. So because they believe they're going to continue to always have a majority, they want to do this. And to be honest, no. It's just a tool in the whole deal to try to keep things fair and at least lines of communication open. Now, I agree that people in the legislature need to have communication lines, right, open. The problem has been that with the majority, with the Democrats in our legislature, they've literally carved out all the Republican representatives largely. And unfortunately, our Republican representatives aren't smart enough to figure out how to gain leverage over the Democrats. I know. You like to think you got the smartest people in there, but the simple truth here, Oregon, I'm sorry, but you don't. See, the smart people would go start building their files on all the Democrats in there. Everybody, yeah. And once you have all the truth and you have all the leverage, then you use it, you apply it. And the goal is to actually apply it in such a way that they play by the Constitution, you know? So there's nothing unethical about that. And mind you, do you think the Democrats would ever try to leverage a Republican to keep them from doing something? Yep, they sure would. So what's good for them, it's good for us too. So What else we got here? So remember, we vote our representatives in, and under no circumstance, except for criminal activity with evidence and a trial and everything else, should they be removed without a vote of the same people that put them in. See, we can recall our legislator, our representative. That is the only situation outside of a serious criminal act that they're convicted of that should remove any legislator. It should not be allowed that the majority in a given legislature be able to remove any of our duly elected representatives. So keep that in mind. So still, no on 113. This is pretty easy, right? Fourth, measure 114. Just say no again. Now, this requires permits to even own a firearm, which was already ruled unconstitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, mind you, Oregon has ignored a number of rulings from the U.S. Supreme Court, including the one on parental rights. We have many laws that are in violation of the Supreme Court rulings. So we have an attorney general that is beyond not doing her job. She too should be fired out of a cannon without a helmet or a net. Now, this is going to create a situation that will further waste taxpayer money in court fighting a losing battle. Now, our sheriffs estimate that this is going to cost about $40 million annually. But normally when they make predictions like this, it usually costs way more. Now, we all know that criminals don't follow the law. So this will only hurt you and I and the law-abiding family, right? Now, the Second Amendment allows for zero infringement on these constitutionally protected basic rights. As a matter of fact, red flag laws also violate the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. So red flag laws are unconstitutional and were struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court as recently as 2021 by unanimous decision. That includes the left-wing progressive Democrats in the U.S. Supreme Court also said no to red flag laws. Now, these laws violate due process under the Fifth Amendment, and they strip away the Second Amendment rights from citizens who have not committed a crime. So we have witnessed the Biden regime and rhinos in the U.S. Senate, along with our own legislature and governor, treating the U.S. Constitution like toilet paper. Now, they will use these laws to punish political enemies. Take note of all the politicians and the candidates who support the red flag laws. Vote the politicians out and don't elect the candidates. This is important. So simply, we should all take an educated, knowledgeable stance to vote no on all four ballot measures. Okay? It's important, guys. So time to step up and make that happen. In the meantime, we've been talking about, okay. And by the way, you'll notice I still have the whole Oregon-China Council little thing up here, and I'm gonna keep that up because, and I want you to, if you can, or if you want me to send it to you, I will. I need to take a new screenshot off the website because they shrunk it down quite a bit. I'm getting them attention that they don't want. Okay, and I want you to ask this question to people too. Okay. When it comes to when they say, oh, I had to go with Drazen or you're going to split the vote, all that stuff. Number one, I'm not splitting the vote. Betsy Johnson actually is splitting the vote. But we're going to take advantage of the situation, and we're going to pull in all the NAVs that don't want to vote for Drazen, Kotek, or Johnson. I'm telling you guys, it's a good strategy. It's available to us. We just have to engage it. So right now, I have all the lists of all the NAVs, and if you're willing to work in your area to contact, some of them we have phone numbers. If you're willing to call them and ask them, plead with them, beg them, whatever, tell them about the candidate, tell them the website, tell them where they can read the contract with Oregon. If you can get an email, send it to them. Send them the good 8-page copy so they can read it themselves and give them that opportunity. You know, it's important. So anyway, you all can help. You want to step up and volunteer, I will get you the list for your area. And then the people that we just have addresses for, you know what? If you want to learn how to canvass and how to walk in and just talk to people or go there and leave a card or a flyer that we have, that's all you got to do. NAVs have every right to be able to vote for somebody they want, right? Okay. So let me go back up here and we'll make sure we hit everybody. See, Miss Loma's in the house and not in Facebook jail. Congratulations. She's a repeat offender, you know. Salem. Salem was pretty good, but the turnout there for that rally was probably one of the worst I've seen. A lot of booths were up, a lot of people like that. J.C. Smith tried to come and verbally assault me. That's Donis's husband. And I warned him, said, well, you know what? I didn't just get her military record, I got yours too. And then he shut up and walked away. Yeah, so we'll get to that another time. In the meantime, we have a couple debates that they just did this week that I'll be redoing the questions, and that will be spliced into those interviews, those debates, and published to everybody. So whenever you run into these, please share them, get them to people so they can watch. They can hear everybody answering the same questions. I think it's important. And so far, if I could have been on these stages, guys, we would have run circles around them. It's too easy. They don't have any real solutions. They'll point out all the problems. They will nitpick on each other a little bit. My nitpicking usually comes from the beginning. That's where I talk about the Oregon-China Council, and the fact that these ladies here on the stage are fully aware of all the new taxes that are about to be levied on Oregonians, but they're acting like it's nothing, like it doesn't exist. So these are obviously topics that all three of them have agreed to not speak of. Yeah. No. See, that's politicians. See me? No. Project manager, statesman. Nothing is out of reach. I can approach and talk about anything and everything, and I will do exactly that. So talk to a number of people. I think we probably got between 50, 60 contracts with Oregon and paperwork handed out, lots of business cards. And at one point when we were leaving, let's see, Tammy Mahaffey, and she's here, and Bob, I got to meet them yesterday. That was great. And she was kind of interviewing me with just for a short little video on the different forms we were handing to people, explaining what it meant and how to interpret it. And we did that. And then towards the end, we're about to leave. We're still standing there in the corner kind of. And then Laura Ma Barker, the person who started the whole mess, okay? It all started with her. And everybody knows this. But she, you're going to love this, I have confirmed that she has left the Constitution Party of Oregon and has rejoined the Republican Party. Okay? I've also confirmed that she does not support the candidate that she brought and recruited to the Constitution Party to keep me from being the candidate for governor on the ballot. Okay? So she no longer supports her. Matter of fact, she made a statement, I think it was in Citizens Destroying Liberty Telegram room, that she would vote for me before voting for Donna Smith. This is the woman who's gone out of her way to, in her words, ruin my life and destroy my campaign. And then there's all the little minions that jumped on her bandwagon. And don't worry, I will be posting Angela Heights or Angela Miyake, whatever name she goes by, or Angela Freedom Fighter, her actual apology to Oksana and I that happened on that Friday before the Sunday that Laura Barker actually resigned and did her little public deal. Here's the thing, guys. Credit where credit is due. If you've done something, you're guilty of something, boom, there it is. And with Laura, she's used this whole victimhood thing to cajole, coax, manipulate people into believing what she says without any evidence to support it. And for those of the people out there that bought that stuff, come on, guys, you need to snap it up a little bit, right? Now they're all left holding the bag. She created the mess, got them all into the mess. Now they've really lost, and now they look really stupid. Hey, they can look stupid all they want. That's their prerogative. And we will help make sure everybody knows. Let's see. You got Miss Shauna in the house. Hey, Lucy, nice to see you here. Her goes for Romero. Thank you so much, Lucy. I appreciate that. Miss Jennifer's in the house. Oh, and Miss Jennifer, I found out she's going to be getting some signs made to post over in Tillamook County in the area. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I really appreciate that. We got Miss Terry Williams. Hey, I'm working on it. I really am. And no matter what, we're not giving up on this. Let's see. Miss Sherry Roberts here. Thank you. And the prayers, believe me, we get a lot of them. And I got to admit, I feel like this gigantic shield of protection where we live. and wherever we go. So that's very reassuring. Um, we're not giving up. And by the way, something else I want to bring up. If anybody you know, anybody has any connection with Trump or one of his people that can actually get a real message and a real response back, we are pushing hard on this everywhere we can, because President Trump is never going to endorse Christine Drazan as a Republican or for governor or for dog catcher. And there's a reason, okay? He knows about who she is. He knows as much as I know. I'm not going to vote for her, even if I wasn't running as a write-in. I would literally not vote in that race because there's not a single candidate in there that is worthy of the Oregonians to be in that position. None of them have offered any significant anything as far as what they're actually going to do, or even knowledge that they know what they're going to be up against. And that's a problem. You don't go into a battlefield without knowing what you're getting into. So it's imperative, because here's the thing. We have like 10 days to the 19th. If we can somehow manage to get a public endorsement by President Trump as a write-in America First candidate for Oregon, hey, Trump does have an ego, and he loves to win, right? I'm telling you now, it will literally put us over the top. The other thing we're going to be doing, like I said, we need everybody that's willing to step up and make contact with non-affiliated voters to get them to be aware that there's write-in candidates, to get that at least one flyer in their hand, talk to them a little bit, and inspire them to step up and say, listen, here's your chance. We know you don't like Kate Brown, so therefore we know you don't like Kotek, you don't like Johnson. If you need to know some key things about him, Johnson was working for the Federal Reserve out of Portland. Okay, she was on the board of directors there. Do you trust that? Okay, all three of them involved with the Oregon-China Council and Agenda 2030 for the New World Order, the actual one world government, which basically takes away our liberties, our freedom, and our sovereignty. So they're going to level us all down. Here we are. Here's the rest of the world. And they're going to level us all. We don't want that. We didn't build this country for that. And these are the things you got to bring up to them and share with them. But here's a guy who's committed. He's got this contract with Oregon. And somebody says, well, he could just not do any of that. Really? Oh, gosh. Here's the thing, guys, and I told you this. My goal and ambition is to know that I can walk anywhere in the state of Oregon and that every Oregonian is going to be like, man, let me shake your hand. Thank you for what you're doing. That's the legacy I want to build. I don't want to have to be hiding behind security or moving from house to house out of fear for some type of violent repercussion from Oregonians. See, that means I would have failed. I would have not upheld and done what I said I was going to do. I want to live in Oregon all the days of my life. Kate Brown? Come on, guys. She can't hardly go anywhere in public at all. Not without a bunch of security. And even then, people don't even know she's there until she's gone. So there you go. Hey, Miss Tammy, there she is. Yes, vote in person on Election Day. Amen to that. Hey, Dina. Yep, representing Prineville. Let's see, once Paul gets into office, other states' government will be jealous. Let's hope they all follow Paul's contract with Oregon, but got back into places that the government had removed. Amen. Let me tell you what, guys. The contract with Oregon could literally be changed to the contract for Minnesota or Texas or Louisiana. Doesn't matter. It could go everywhere. And yes, I've talked with different gubernatorial candidates. One out of Michigan, and one person had been running in Texas, but they didn't sell it. They didn't buy into it. They were like, well, that sounds great. I mean, I think the people really want that. Yeah, but either you're going to commit to it or you're not. And I'm committed to it. So, not to mention all the people that know me, know where I live, guys, I'm committed. That's how it is. Hey, Mr. Ron, good to see you. Ms. Terry, please send me an updated version of the contract. Yes, Terry, I will do that. Hold on one second. I got my 3x5 cards back up and running again, so that's good. All right. Okay, we'll do. So I get off this broadcast, I'll get that sent to you right away. So anybody else that needs a copy of that, I also have the metrics, all the numbers for this primary election. So it's what feeds to what we're expecting in the general election for turnout and what our marks are. Because here's the thing, guys. There's over about 1,017,000 non-affiliated voters. And actually that number has grown because there's a whole lot of people leaving the Constitutional Party of Oregon. Yep. You're going to watch those numbers just drop off the map. So they're moving to non-affiliated voter. But what we're doing is we're contacting them any way we can, all kinds of different people, some via phone. Sometimes we have phone numbers, sometimes we don't. And if you end up going to someone's house and just tell them who you are, you're a non-affiliated voter, and there's a write-in candidate we need to make you aware of, someone for governor, because nobody wants to have to vote for the lesser of three evils. So here's your option. That's it. Get them a flyer, get them something with the information, the website, a phone number to call if they want to ask me questions, whatever it takes. If you want to set up a Zoom call, a Zoom meeting with any group of people you have, church, otherwise, doesn't matter. Call me. You all have my number. And we will set it. I have the Zoom thing. We pay for it. We can get hundreds of people on a single Zoom call if that's what it takes. And once I send you the Zoom meeting information, you can send it to whoever you want to get them on there. Okay? So these are options to everybody, guys. And I have no problem sitting down and explaining the same things I've explained to you many times so that they can hear it from me directly and then take some action, right? Because I want people to feel comfortable and confident in their knowledge. I actually want an educated voter. I know. It's crazy talk, right? Okay. Sure will, Terry. And say, hey, Teresa. And then we get Terry. What's the Senate bill number on that healthcare program they're trying to get through? That, one second, I'm sorry. That's 111. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's 111 here. Yep, 111. Basically, they're trying to put a ban on private healthcare and go with a statewide healthcare. And here's what they say: so, hey, but all your healthcare will be free. When was the last time you heard that? How can we spend over $16 billion a year on OHA? We don't really know what all they do, where that money actually goes. But we do know that it doesn't really do much of anything, except for them having the power to try to tell us all what to do. 49 of the states, COVID is basically done. Masks are gone, everything else. Here in Oregon, we still have OHA trying to push masks and trying to push vaccines, even though the vaccines have been proven to be ineffective, if not deadly, right? And yet that's what they're doing. You know, I also found it odd that Bill Gates owns farmland in like almost every state in the union, but not Oregon. Probably doesn't want to edge out the Chinese, because that's the Chinese buying it all up, right? So here's my message to China. You really think you're going to take over Oregon? I will guarantee you from this cage on. Not going to happen. Nope. Take that one to the bank. All right. Let's see. How's the event in Coos Bay? So I have to work weekends. Otherwise, I would have joined you. That's awesome. Thank you, Wilson. Second Amendment rally in Salem, where they were working. Got a lot of honks and thumbs up and waves and a lot of hoo-hoos. Okay. And I think over in Bandon, Coos County, whatever, there's a CRL, the Citizens Restoring Liberty group, and it's sad to see, and I really wish this hadn't happened, but it's kind of been divided. And there's an element that basically has walked away, and that group, that element, is basically, they're coming together, they're coalescing, and they're sticking to God and country and the original foundation of Citizens Restoring Liberty. And what I've said is that when you guys have a meeting, let me know. I'll talk to you. We'll answer your questions again. We'll let you know what's really been going on. And we just have to keep working this anywhere and any place we can. Let's see. How can you get rid of superintendent from the school board? My school district superintendent needs to be removed. Well, Amanda, number one, a lot of these people, once I become governor, I'm also the superintendent of schools for the state. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be asking for report cards on your superintendent from you. And based on that information, I'm going to go and interview him myself. He's not going to like that. And I'll be willing to bet you money that before I leave out of there, he'll probably tender his resignation. And then I'll try to make sure we have somebody to replace them. So let's see. Hope you have some good reasons for his removal. Let's see. Do recall Google. It's pretty simple. Yeah. And that's another thing, guys. Recalls. We can recall representatives. Oh, I'm telling you, we can do this. And there's been talk of backup plans for whatever might happen here in November. And my thing is, I'm fully focused on November 8th. We're going to get to that point, and we'll see what falls, what happens. Who knows? Miracles could happen, right? Sure they can. And with President Trump, like I said, guys, we got 10 days. So I need everybody beating the brush in every way they can. Sending letters to the White House, sending to Trump's deal, Mike Lindell, anybody you can get hold of, you can speak with directly. Because I just need one phone call with one right person. And if I do that, I know we can make this happen. Because, man, Trump-supported candidates are winning everywhere. Everywhere. And that could happen to a write-in candidate right here in Oregon. So, let's see. Mike Neerman was removed from office with an overwhelming bipartisan 59-1 vote. How in the heck did that happen? We vote them in. That's right. Like I told you, JMD, listen, most of our legislators need to be removed. They need to go away. So here's something else I'm going to ask every single one of you to do, whatever House district you're in or Senate district. Once we get through November, I'm going to set up a meeting, a group where we're basically for people that want to run for the legislature. Okay. And what I'm going to do, we'll interview you. We'll figure out where you're at, what you understand about the Constitution, how you need to apply it. And it shouldn't matter what and who you are. What matters is how you're going to represent your people. You are a representative of your people. And if you're not in communication with your people, you fail. If you're not representing them, you fail. Now, mind you, they may want something that's outside the boundaries of the Constitution. That becomes the point when you have to let them know. Say, listen, peoples, I would love to do that. However, here's the problem. So you have this governor up there, and he knows the Constitution. And we put forth this bill that would effectively violate certain rights of certain people under the Constitution. He's going to take one look at that and go, I'm sorry, we can't do this. So you're going to have to find something else that can be done to maybe serve the same purpose or whatever, but it's got to be within the boundaries of the Constitution. So you're going to have that conversation with your peoples as well. Let's see. Yeah, you're right. The fact that they removed Mike Neerman with the vote of their, again, guys, Mike Neerman didn't do anything wrong. No, he didn't. And that was a frustrating thing. And for the Capitol and how they were literally trying to create conflict. It's what the whole cultural Marxism does. It creates conflict wherever it can. Because when it creates the conflict, then it justifies itself for having done what they've done. In reality, it really doesn't work that way, but that's how they make it work. And we fall into that trap. So all the individuals on that day, that when Mike Neerman left that door open and they charged in there, okay, they may have good intentions. They may have been justified based on the Constitution. But the fact is, they didn't think through the results. There's always an effect, okay? And the people that I was there when it happened. I was there. And I was like, these people are not like trained military combatants, right? But they were dying for this confrontation. They were doing everything they could to try to get these guys in all their battle gear, their riot gear, to attack them. They were doing everything they could. Calling them names, calling them everything under the sun. And I'm just like, this is not how this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be a peaceful protest, not a riot. And so for those people like Misty Fox, who supports the riot part of things, don't support people like that. Just don't. There may come a time when people of the state may have to step up and have our own little short mini civil war because of the inequities, the evil that's been running our state, and also selling us out to the Chinese. Okay? That's a legitimate deal. And it may come to that. I hope that it doesn't. And I'm working my butt off to make sure it doesn't happen. But if it does, count me in. I see what's being done. I see what's going on. I'll fight this in a tie, or I'll fight this in greens, whatever it takes. But we have to do it the right way. See, when you're not the bad guy, you have to play by all the rules. Where the bad guys create their rules, they adjust their things. They're way more flexible. So we have to do it bigger, better, right? That's just how we have to do it. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Yes. So superintendents are appointed by the government. Great. Well, then guess what? They all get an interview with me. That'll be fun. I'm going to enjoy that because I'll be traveling the state of Oregon. Once I become governor and I get things situated at the Capitol and get things moving for the audits through all the different departments and everything like that. And then we'll be making the rounds through Oregon, every city, every place there's schools, every superintendent is going to get to meet me personally. And a bunch of them are not going to like it. Yeah, I don't know if a superintendent can be recalled, because if they're appointed by the governor, it's like a judge. The governor appoints a lot of these judges. Get to clean house there too, guys. Like I said, do you think Christine Drazen's going to do that? We know Betsy's not going to do it. We know Tina Kotek's really not going to do it. So, am I going to do it? Mm-hmm. Yep, we need to do that. Cannot recall because the governor appointed like I said, the judges and superintendents are appointed by the governor. So that's me. That's what I'll be doing when I get into office. Yeah. Laura Barker is, no, I'd say a speck of something else, but still a speck, more like a fly speck. Yeah, there you go. By Felicia. 2 more letters to Trump. Thank you, Dina. That's awesome. Some point something's going to break through, guys. Don't give up. We got 10 solid days that we can get an endorsement by Trump in the next 10 days, we win. It is that simple, okay? Because right now, Bill Meyer won't interview me. Rob Taylor, the Rob Taylor report. No, it's not called for that interview. He's kind of pretending to support me by getting some signs from Tom and Shauna Stillion, but he's not really in support. The kicker is the Constitution Party of Oregon is literally blowing apart, okay? Because with Laura's exit, now she's no longer doing anything in the party at all. Obviously, she didn't believe in the party, but she did manipulate the heck out of them. So all these old men, yeah, get a little attention from a female, Laura Ma Barker. Yep, that's all it took for them to pretty much give away the keys to the kingdom. But they were already committing crimes themselves before Laura, and we managed to expose the whole thing, which they really didn't like. So I told Bob Ekstrom, same thing with Jack Brown, I'm going to make sure everybody in your hometown knows exactly who you are, what you look like, and what you did. It's only fair. Personally, I just seen you in jail for all this stuff. What you thought about LaDonna salsa that we love? Oh, yes, very good. Yep, LaDonna and Angela, they dropped off some salsa when they stopped by here last week, and it's awesome. And it's about half gone. So I got to get some more chips. What are my thoughts on Erickson? Erickson, you got to fresh me a little bit more on Erickson. Which Erickson are we talking about? Is that a governor candidate or somebody here in the state? If they are bonded, they can be sued. That's true. That's something else we're going to have to do. We're going to have to make it more public because they hide this information so that you can't go after their bonds. And it's time to put them all on notice. People should be able to know if they got to file a legitimate suit and sue on a bond, they should be able to do that. Board of Education selects superintendent. In some cases, the school board has been, in certain areas, they select their principal, but I don't think they select the superintendent. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking that's it. Yeah, bonds for the win. Hey, Angelina, good to see you. Hey, Patricia. Oh, man. But yeah, Dean, give me a little more information on Erickson real quick, and because I'll recall who you're talking about since I have some other stuff. Um, we can do this. We really can. And it's just a matter of sharing. Listen, everybody has an email list of people, and you can send a little note just basically asking them, listen, please consider this option. Consider this write-in candidate for governor. Here's a copy of this contract with Oregon. Include that 8-pager in your email. Send it to everybody you can and ask them to share it with everybody they can. It even addresses the fact that I'm writing in. It's totally updated. And guys, this is going to be a grassroots effort. We'll do everything that we can, right? And then, God willing, President Trump will do a part that he can. Because I'll tell you now, I know with that endorsement, it trumps everything and puts Oregon back on a path to real recovery. Is it going to be work? Oh, most certainly. And already Mark Thielman's campaigning for Secretary of State in 2 years. I think overall, I think he can make a good one. My concern is going to be some other issues I won't bring up now, but know this, I know everything about him. And at some point, him and I are going to have heart-to-heart. He's not going to enjoy it. Mike Erickson for Congress. Congressional District 1, correct? I think that's Congressional District 1. And I'd gotten some information from him. I actually met him and had a conversation with him. And I let him know. It's like, listen, I think he's running for Congressional District 1. And I take it he's a Republican. Okay. Yeah, listen, this guy he has potential to win that. He really does. I don't know what he's been doing in his campaigning and all that, but it sounded like he was right in line with where I'm at. So that's very reassuring. And the thing I warned him about, I said, listen, when you win, when you become a congressman, realize this, know this. They're going to try to leverage you. They're going to try to control you. They're going to try to tell you what's what. And you just got to kind of a little bit go along, but at the same time, you got to be communicating with the right people that can give you insights and help to navigate that. Because it's going to be intense. The average person, brand new into Congress, you're not prepared for that. You just aren't. It doesn't mean you can't overcome it and get through it, but you better have a few life preservers and the edge of the pool handy just in case. Because like I said, their goal and ambition is to compromise you. Once they compromise you, they leverage you. You don't control yourself anymore. You don't represent your constituents anymore. And therein lies the problem. We can't allow that machine to keep going. Let's see. I could be a keyboard warrior for you. Awesome. Thank you. That's Patricia from North Carolina. Go Tar Heels. Requiring the vaccine for volunteers, staff members. Yeah, that's going away completely once I become governor. There will be no vaccine mandates, mask mandates, anything. Not for state employees, nothing. Not schools, nothing. Let's see, Drays and Trolls. Okay, I don't know where we got a Drays and Troll, but all I can say for any Drays and Troll, you're welcome to be here. Ask a good question. We had Violet here, a Democrat, last time we had live, and she had some awesome questions. It was great, and we knocked them out of the park for her. So I think we got her attention, and that's a good thing, guys. You got to plant the seeds, slowly work it out. School board usually hires the superintendent. I don't think school board usually selects the principal, is what I believe, not superintendent. And in some places where there's multiple superintendents, I'm still trying to understand that one. Can one superintendent not do the job for the school districts like they used to be? What's the deal? Well, Dean, if the left is trying to smear him in their commercials, they fear him. And all he has to do is say, they fear me, Oregon. Yeah. They know that when I get in there, I'm going to fix some things, and they don't want those things fixed. So, do you want real representation? Do you want less taxes? Do you want a more fiduciary, responsible representative in Congress? Then you vote for me. If you want someone who's going to spend all your money, vote for him. That's what you tell them. Let's see. Everyone's probably wondering, she seriously would drive all that way to take yummies to Paul. Thank you. I appreciate that, LD. Well, one thing is when I meet people and people meet myself and Oksana, we're just normal people. We don't look down our nose at anybody. We've worked our whole lives. We've been through the fiery hoops of life like everybody else. So, and to me, you can't represent people you can't relate to. It's good to be able to relate to people, be able to tell a couple good jokes, tell a couple good stories. And matter of fact, Tammy and Bob Mahaffey, we had a great conversation after the event yesterday. They took me to Popeyes for dinner. Man, come on, can't go wrong with Popeyes. And so anyway, we had a long conversation. We were there literally till about 5 minutes before they shut down the lobby. So it was a really nice, awesome conversation. Covered a lot of ground too. Let's see. Starting a grassroots fight against the education system. I'll be glad to assist. Well, Patricia, once I become governor, it'll be easy. It'll be really easy. I could literally snap my fingers and day one and just totally turn things around. But yeah, we'll have to talk to you some more, see what other insights and background you have that might be actually helpful to us. Maybe the people called rhinos are the real Republicans and the patriots are the outliers. Well, here's the thing about Republicans. Think about this. Out of the total number, I'm going to give you the actual numbers here. 1 second. Let's see, where's that metrics? There it is. Okay. Out of the voters that voted in the primary for the Republicans, I mean, you have a total Republicans of, what was it, 700? Come on, where is it? Total Republicans. Yeah, 729,000 Republicans, right? So that's how many total Republicans we have. Out of all of them, 370,000 of them voted, all right? So we're talking about literally 50% of Republicans voted in the primary. And of the ones that voted, only 23% voted for Christine Drazan. Only 85,000 voted for Christine. Everybody else voted for Tiernan, Pullman. I mean, Tiernan got 17.8%. Pulliam got 11.1, that's shocking to me. Barton got 11.0. That's shocking to me. Pierce got 8.9. That sounds about right. Mark Thielman, 8.1. People act like Mark was supposed to have been like 30%. And I see a lot of people vocally supporting him, but he obviously didn't have the numbers. He barely got 30,000 votes. McQuiston, 7.7%, 28,000 votes. Sizemore, 3.6%. Gomez, this did my heart good, although I can't believe she had higher numbers than everybody else. She got 2.7%, just under 10,000 votes. She spent a lot of money and got less than 10,000 votes. McLeod, 1.2%. Hess, 1.2%. Boyce, 1.1%. Well, those people all run in that 4,000 vote range. Brandon Merritt got 1% at 3,600. Christensen, 0.8. Richardson, 0.5. Less than 2,000 people. And boy, let me tell you what, I can't tell you how many people were trying to push her on me. Baldwin, 0.1%. Birch, 0.1%. Presco, 174. And Streck, 171 votes. It doesn't even show up as a tenth of a percent. So these are real numbers. Now let's go to the Democrat side. The Democrats actually have a total registered 1,111,000 voters. Okay. So we're talking about 280,000 more voters. Now, their output, the people who actually voted, was only about 480,000, which is less than 50%. So the Republicans did have a little bit more turnout, but by sheer volume and numbers, the Democrats got us beat. Okay. Kotek actually got 57.6% of that vote, 275,000 people. Drazan only got 23%. That was 85,000 people. Guys, Kotek already has over a 200,000 point lead on Drazan right there. Because I'll tell you right now, all the Republicans that didn't vote for Drazan, they don't want to vote for her. Now, Democrats who didn't vote for Kotek are going to go, well, I'm a Democrat, I'll vote for Kotek. Fine, she won. And that's what they'll do. Although there will be a chunk of them that's going to basically go, I'm not going to vote for anybody, right? So you may see a lower voter turnout for the Dems. With the Republicans, see, Republicans don't necessarily feel an absolute loyalty to voting for the Republican. And whenever some Republican tells me, well, you're a Republican, you need to vote straight Republican, I literally want to smack them upside their head, okay? Because there's crappy candidates on both sides. And every once in a while, you might get a good Democrat. But the way they've been fixing the races in the primary for Democrats, we're never going to get a good Democrat. That's just how it's going to be until we get this all fixed. So Drazen doesn't have even the percentage support in the Republicans that Kotek does. So Kotek wins there. And a lot of people say, well, Betsy Johnson is going to take over a bunch of Kotek's votes. Not true. Most of the votes that Betsy's actually taking are Republican. Okay, that's right. Republican. Now think about this. Barton got 11%. That was almost 41,000 votes. She is supporting Betsy Johnson, which tells you Barton is the Democrat like we said she was the whole time. All right. Newt Bueller, he's supporting Betsy Johnson. Tim Knopf, he's supporting Betsy Johnson. What is he thinking? I don't get that at all. That's not like him at all. I don't know. Maybe he's been body snatched. Let's see. Phil Knight, $2 million plus to Betsy Johnson's campaign, but Phil Knight also gave $1 million to Christine Drazen. That's weird. Well, here's what we know about Phil Knight and his money. Every time he donates money to anybody, they lose. Well, that's not reassuring. So to me right now, Kotek is being set up to win, but she won't win by a whole lot, but more than enough, right? So with Betsy Johnson splitting the real vote, I don't know why people aren't calling and beating down her door, trying to get her to drop out of the race. She's got more money than the other two, and that's why she stays in the race. Because there's an off chance that she's going to pull the votes off of Christine, puts Kotek in the lead, they win. Thank you, Betsy, you lying POS. Betsy Johnson. If anybody says, what's wrong with Betsy Johnson? Well, first of all three of them take money from the same sources, big pharma, all that stuff. Betsy Johnson was a director of the Federal Reserve Bank out of Portland. She was on the board of directors for the Federal Reserve Bank out of Portland. Talk about write your own ticket. I wonder if they just let them go in there and dance and roll around naked in the money or something. I don't know. And the other issue for all three of them, and to me this disqualifies all of them for governor, is the fact that they all support the Oregon-China Council. And it's right up there on my screen. They support the United Nations Agenda 2030. And basically that is using the Sustainable Development Goals and COVID to basically guide us to a new world order and a one world government controlled by the United Nations. Anybody in America, as an American, if you support that, you are guilty of treason. You take action to support it, you're guilty of treason. That's it. And right now, we have three main candidates running for governor that literally are committing treason. What do we do about that? Well, number one, you can't let them get into office. So when somebody gives you the argument, well, Betsy's okay. She's a nice old lady. She's 71 years old. Guys, I know they showed her climbing up a hill one time. They must have had the paramedics standing by. Okay? She had a heck of a time scrambling up that hill on all fours. And that is not something I wanted to see. Okay? I'm 56 years old. Christine Drazen, I believe, is 46 years old. So I'm trying to figure out why we're skipping over the first early chunk of Generation X. We've been through it all. All of it. What has Christine Drazen done for her country besides fail in our legislature? Why did they make her the House Minority Leader? My understanding is pretty much nobody wanted the job. And that was a good little feather to put in her resume for running for governor, maybe, right? That's what these politicians do. No, it's time to change all this. But these are real numbers, guys. And when you look at them and you kind of set them out, you're like, okay, uh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. So literally, Drazen is screwed. Drazen has no chance of winning. Betsy Johnson, ultimately, no. She thinks she's going to pull in all these non-affiliated voters. The problem with that is this. The Republican non-affiliated voters are not going to vote for her because technically they would consider her kind of a rhino type. Number two, and a Democrat. Number two, the Democrat non-affiliated voters, they left the Democrat Party, and they left because of Tina Kotek and Betsy Johnson. They are not going to vote for her. Just because she ran as a non-affiliated voter, although they keep calling her an independent. No, she's a non-affiliated candidate. She's not an independent Party of Oregon candidate. It's amazing to me that we're stuck where we're at. And it pisses me off, the individuals that were responsible for preventing me from actually being on the ballot. And that includes the Secretary of State's Elections Division, Alma Whalen and Linda Pluchke and Luke Labant, the Deputy Director. All of them are guilty. They participated in this. Laura Barker, Angela Height, freedom fighter, or Angela Miyake. She goes by maiden name too sometimes. Angie Vandenbos, Roger Shipman, Jack Brown, Robert Ekstrom. All these people are guilty, and there's a whole lot more. Those are the primary players. So, there's also Brandon Williams. He joined their little forces in the beginning, and then there's Donna Smith and all the people that are connected with her. But this is a small group of people that managed to pull all this stuff with the help of the Oregon Secretary of State's Election Division office to just prevent me from being on the ballot. Because none of these people want me on stage to debate them. None of them. I would destroy them on the stage. I'd expose every one of them for everything they've done. And people are going to be, I didn't know that about Betsy. She was representing the Federal Reserve? How do you get that job, right? And I'm betting you money it's a six-figure job. Easy. No problem, right? Right now, the Dems that voted and the Republicans that voted, we're still looking between a 50, probably maybe up to a 55% voter turnout. And what that means is that with the NAVs, out of the 1,017,662 votes that they offer, which, by the way, that number is actually even higher because a lot of people have left the Constitutional Party of Oregon, and I think still people leaving the Democrat Party and the Republican Party for the NAV roles. And if we look at this to say 50% of them are going to come out and vote, we're talking about a little over 500,000 voters. And we secure a significant part of them, 50+%, and I believe we can win the write-in candidacy. It is within our grasp because everything else is going to be a three-way split, and all we need to secure is the magic number. The ideal number is 34%, but potentially we can do it with 26%. Okay, so there it is. A little quick calculation here. All right. So, let's go here. Where's that at? Yeah, like I said, it's still going to be about 26% at the minimum, 34% max. That's what we're shooting for, the 34%. That's a serious magic number that puts us in lead, puts us in the win column, and that's what we want. Okay, I'm in the wrong spot. There we go. Okay, so let me come back over here. We've done our best to educate people on this stuff, and I still get people, well, you're splitting the vote. You're splitting the vote. Do you understand what that means? Invariably, they do not. And it's frustrating because it's like, for me, it's simple math. Doing these things, calculations in my head, knowing what the percentages are, knowing what the total votes are, what we're expecting, 55% turnout, all that stuff, right? And people will still fight the real numbers. I don't know if they're psychic. Maybe they have some other insight that I don't, but so far nobody's been able to offer me any actual factual stuff to back up what they are saying. They just scream the same thing. So, yeah, that's what we're dealing with. Yeah, see, it's just the Oregon China Council and the thing. Oh, something else, Terry, good to know too, is that none of them in their debates have brought up the word China or the Oregon China Council, okay, or the new income tax for statewide healthcare. None of them are talking about it. None of them are challenging each other on it. Why? If I was Drazen and I did not support the Oregon China Council, I would be beating those other two women to death with their own arms on stage with the Oregon China Council arm. Okay? She's not. The reason she's not is she's part of it. She's been supportive of it. Oh, it sounds so wonderful. Yeah. Oh, did you know China's taken over Oregon? And you guys are helping them to do that? Are we taking over China? Is Oregon taking over China? No. But there you go. And next time you see her, ask her. So why do you support the Oregon China Council? Oh, well, this is a mutually beneficial relationship. And I know what they're going to say, but it doesn't benefit Oregonians at all. But it does grease the skids for all the below board dealings with China and our Oregon leaders, whether they realize it or not. And one thing about Christine Drazen, naive comes to mind. She's been promised things. If you vote this way for us on this bill, then we're going to help you do that with that bill. And then she does that. She compromises herself. And then they don't take care of her like they claimed that they would. And she believed them. She's like Charlie Brown. They're like Lucy. Hey, go ahead, Charlie Brown, kick the football. Boom. Yeah. That doesn't get old, you know? And at some point, Charlie Brown realizes that he needs to just run up there and kick Lucy once, and that might fix the problem. Christine Drazen won't do that. She's not meant to be in that game. She doesn't have the backbone or the shoulders to navigate it. It does take a certain intensity. And I've had people say, well, you lacked gubernatorial demeanor or whatever to be a governor. Really? No. I'm just a no-nonsense kind of guy. And I call it like I see it. And I get into the facts and the actual numbers, and I'll present that. And then I take some action. That's really it. It's project manager to the core. Your goal is to take care of the job, get it done as quickly as possible, under budget, with the resources you have, and do it more efficiently. Maybe find the better ways of doing things before they bite you in the butt. And then you go forward. That's who I am. That's where it is. And if your feelings get hurt because of that, then maybe you need to go find a closet, go in a dark closet, suck eggs, have your knees removed. Yeah. No, listen, not everybody's meant to be a leader. Not everybody's meant to be a governor or a president or anything like that. And no, I do not have aspirations to be the president. Okay. I want to take care of Oregon. My aspirations are pretty much if I can pull off working for Oregon for 8 years, do a great job as governor, set up this state in a big, awesome way, maybe running for U.S. Senate would be the next step for me to continue to help Oregon. And then also to go to smack some people around in the Senate, the federal Senate, by the way, Congress. So that's where I'm at. Now, there is a website called therealdrazen.com. And that's put together by Betsy Johnson or Tina Kotek or some of their little Democrat operatives. But the thing is, Terry, and I don't know if I sent it to you. I think I did. All the information we have updates too, by the way. Also, the histories on Kotek, Drazen, and Johnson. But all three, the Oregon China Council. If I was part of that group, I wouldn't even run for office. No. Wouldn't even do it. Rhino hunter in a big way. Biden's coming back to Oregon this week. Oh my gosh. This week. They haven't really been announcing it too much. I've not seen it too many places. And he's a vegetable. So if anybody goes, get whatever video you can, because he's going to be shaking hands with thin air. won't know which way he's going. They may be luring him away with an ice cream cone. Come follow me. Yeah, saw that TikTok video. It's pretty funny. Oh yeah, and she's not talking about abortion either. That's true. Drazen, see, they don't understand. I've published my position on abortion and what I would do. And the best part is this: in the course of doing what I want to do, I don't have to outlaw abortion. Okay, but what my argument is this: all the people that claim to be against abortion and working against abortion, you've been beating your head against the wall. The wall ain't coming down, but you keep doing the same thing. It's ineffective. It doesn't work. You can't beat people over the head with a Bible to get something done, right? So you got to appeal to something else. And I have a complete explanation. I have a letter that I actually drafted for a pastor so that they could make a decision if they wanted to kind of support me as a candidate. They were going to base it strictly on that, which I think is just wrong. But still, I have a way better answer than everybody else. Oh, yeah. First thing you do, you take the money out of it. You enforce the federal laws. You adopt them as Oregon state law, and then you enforce them. Okay? Those laws already exist by the federal government. They already exist in the Department of Justice, but they just don't enforce them. And as a state, we can go, well, the Department of Justice, the feds, they have these laws. You know what? We're going to adopt those laws. Now they're part of Oregon law. Legislature, do your job. Governor, sign that bill. Sign those into law, and then enforce them. Right? And then we effectively eat about just taking away the money. Taxpayers don't want to pay for somebody else's indiscretion. Over 80% of America said no, they don't want to pay for somebody else's abortion. They think they should still have them maybe, but they don't want to pay for them. Okay? Then you shouldn't. So here in Oregon, that's what would happen. You take the money out of the industry, it shrinks significantly. And eventually it just goes away to greener pastures. So we could effectively eat that whole elephant, or, with a few exceptions where people really actually need it for a very serious health reason to the detriment of the mother, things like that. But even those cases are so few and far between. I don't even know how many actual cases of those conditions for rape or incest or to the detriment of the mother actually exist in Oregon. Okay? Because combined, all those things are less than 0.5% for the whole United States. Yeah. Real numbers. I'll have to walk all of our ballots into the county clerks. Yes, amen, Angelina. You're obviously getting the message. Keep spreading it out. Drazen, she's probably a nice lady, right? But she's got into a big pit of piranhas, and she thinks she's a piranha. She's not. She's a very naive goldfish. Okay, so and I've not really read all her resume, but I'm pretty sure I've still got a beat in life experience and everything else, and definitely knowledge. But also, I'm willing to fight the fight. I'm willing to step up there. So the question, I guess, Oregon, is this: do you want one of these women to run the state, or would you like to give maybe a man a chance again? Right? It could be that simple for a lot of people here in Oregon. It's hard to know. I've talked to people, and their main primary issue was the Second Amendment. They don't care about anything else. Just where do you stand on the Second Amendment? I'm getting rid of all red flag laws in Oregon. Why? Supreme Court already ruled on it. I'm just doing the job. I'm enforcing our Constitution, state and federal, and the U.S. Supreme Court ruling. So that means however many bullets you want in your gun, that's your prerogative. I don't even need to know. Type of gun you have, same thing. I don't need to know. Do you have to act responsibly? Of course you do. And I'm sure you will. But like I said, we have to go back to the legitimate Second Amendment. And that says shall not be infringed. And they've been infringing all over the place. The Supreme Court ruled on that as early as 2021. We engage. Okay. If you could put it up on a billboard, where would you put it? I know they're extremely expensive. Okay. Actually, Terry, I found the Ad Critter platform, and I'm trying to go through that. I have to actually upload a commercial or something to put on these boards, and get a pricing for that for the Portland area. If anybody knows of any billboard owner or operator in Portland, Eugene, or Salem, by all means, please put me in contact with them, because trying to find these people and talk to them, it's not as easy as it used to be. You go online, look for billboards, boom, it pops up for Oregon, boom, you could find it a lot easier. And that has been a real pain in the backside. Same thing with TV commercials for different, Fox and what have you, and getting them to return your emails or return your calls. These people are all working from home, and apparently they're not working. So how does it pay for itself? I don't know. E. Werner is supporting Christine. Oh, gosh. See, a lot of people are going to support Christine like him because there's nobody else to really to really support, right? At least he doesn't know. So, but here's a chance, Angelina, if you can let him know. I think it's E. Werner Reschke or something, right? But I don't think he likes me because I've called him out on a few things. Yeah. So, but I'm not worried about that. It's not his vote that I want. I want the average Oregonian out there that's been suffering with all the inequities thrust on them by our legislature and our out-of-control governor, with a lack of real responsibility or accountability from our attorney general. Yeah, I have a feeling Biden's already brain dead. It's like they already hit him with a few thousand volts, thinking maybe that might help him. It's possibly a screenshot of where it shows they support Oregon China Council. I wasn't able to find anyone. Okay. It's not, I don't think it lists everybody. I'll have to go back through the website, see if I can find something else. But I remember there was a time there was something that came out and it had all these people, all the legislators that had signed on for the Oregon China Council. And it's just a matter of looking and trying to find out where that might be if they haven't removed it. Because it's obvious that those running the OregonChinaCouncil.org website, I've been screaming about, this is what it used to look like on their page. That is not what it looks like now. Let's see. So I'm going over here. I'm looking at this. I'm going to grab this quick copy. And this is so that you can go look it up yourself. That's right, folks. It's always good to have those skills. On there, if you scroll all the way down, you see the Sustainable Development Goals on that website. Let's see. You know what? Hold on one second. I'm going to go and set this up real quick. Let's go do a screen capture. Where is it? Which one? It's display capture. Okay, let's go over here. Shoot. Yeah, that's not quite working right now. What is the deal? Okay. Okay, so yeah, I didn't quite do that right. I'm gonna go. I have an update I got to do on this thing, and I still haven't done that new one they just sent me. But either way, so it's a 501c3, the OregonChinaCouncil.org, OregonChinaCouncil.org, and it talks about sister relations, and it's like Fujian Province, Tianjin Municipality, Crate Lake, and Mount Wuhui National Park. Like, how do any of us benefit from this at all? Sustainable Development Goals, they list them here, and there's another thing that I send everybody that includes this, plus an evaluation of what they're really saying, what they're really doing. And that is where the problem lies. But now this is weird because it used to be, okay, they have like pictures on the front page. I'm sorry I can't show this to you myself, but you can take a look at it yourself. It has all these pictures, and you see some Americans that were there, a couple of these photographs. And I'm sure they're treated like kings and queens when they go there. But to my knowledge, and so far, everybody almost everybody in the legislature is actually supporting the Oregon-China Council. But lately, they don't have like a list of all the names, because we know Tina Kotek does. We know Betsy Johnson does. We know, oh gosh, I can't remember this guy's name. I can see him in multiple pictures here. Gosh, I'm really surprised because he's a Republican. Yeah, so there's people you can trust, and there's people you can't. Let's see, who else is here? Yeah, something Smith is his name. Jess Paulson, Brian Clem, Greg Eckert. Okay, like I said, they don't have like a list of all the legislators that are actually, at least not that I can see. I'm going to go look somewhere else. Is what I'm going to have to do. But that'll kind of give you a start. I'm going to have to go back and do a little Googling here and see what I can find, because I know there was a list of all the people that supported it. And again, that's what we got to do. Let's see who else got. Yeah, Werner and Bentz are sellouts. I agree, Kimberly. You're absolutely right. Let me tell you something about Bentz. Bentz is an attorney. That automatically should pretty much prevent anybody from voting him for even dog catcher. Okay. Number two, he's involved in that whole Uranium One land grab deal, and I'm confident he made money on the deal. And basically, the goal was to get all these farmers and ranchers out of there, because you can't have cattle running around places where you have uranium tailings out of the uranium mine. That's not good for the animals, much less anything else, especially with a good rainstorm and then moving all that material down to the rivers, creeks, and streams, which then kills everything pretty much all the way out to the coast. So the fact that he was involved in that, but he really kind of sidestepped, nobody really questions him on it either. He's a slimy little, nope, don't like him one bit. Wilson's in Facebook jail. Well, you're here, and I can see you talking, so that's good. Doesn't splitting the vote just mean more options to vote for? Actually, in certain circumstances, well, for example, the Republican primary is a perfect example of splitting the vote, because in the Republican primary, there was, there's a lot of people. You're talking to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 19 people were on the ballot, right? Okay, so think about this. See, I was going to be on the Republican ballot, but I had a strategy, and I changed parties in November last year, okay? Because I knew that number one, they were not going to let me win, and I just wasn't going to get a fair shake in the Republican primary. I just knew this. So I had to find a way to forego that, but also to be in line with my position as a citizen, okay? And that really is the Constitution. I've always told people I'm a constitutional, conservative Republican. I just support the Constitution. Well, so when you have this many people, and by the way, there wasn't that many people initially. There's only about 6 people, including myself, that were running up through November. However, once people found out that I was not going to be in the race, man, it was like dog pile. Everybody and their monkey jumped into the race. Okay. Wow. Okay. And by the way, part of my strategy, I entered the race way early, literally back in, I want to say like December of 2020, because as I made the announcement, the goal was to get as many people that were going to actually run to finally show themselves. We needed to know who they were so we could do opposition research, know who they are, what their history was, the things that were important to the voters that they needed to know, that they're trying to hide. And oh my gosh, the person we probably got the most on was Stan Pulliam, and never had to really use it. But then again, most all his stuff and even worse got exposed. He shouldn't ever run for office ever again, any office. And for the people in his little town of Sandy, if they ever, I hope they go back to their old mayor guy. Yeah. And same thing with Kerry McQuiston. Anybody be better. No question about it. Anybody's part of the good old boy or good old girl club, do not trust them. They're not there for your better interest. So in a way, that split the vote extensively. But the thing is, when you have a whole lot of people like that, 19 people in a single race, you split the vote so much that it makes it even easier for those that are cheating to cheat. See, it's not like you have two people and it becomes 51% and 50, and 49. It's a harder thing to cheat in that regard. But when you have all these, and you can shave off a couple tenths of a percent off every candidate, feed them to your main one. Well, I mean, Bob Tiernan he had 17.8% of the vote against Drazen's 22%, actually 23%. So he really wasn't too far off. His 66,000 votes to her 85,000 votes. So 19,000 votes behind. And let's just say, McQuiston had 28,000. So let's just say she wasn't even in the race. She really shouldn't have been in the race. But she was Solomon Yu's pick. Oh, and by the way, she's now Solomon Yu's main squeeze. I know. Shocking. Yeah, so you can't write this stuff, guys. But this is what we're dealing with. And for now, and it's kind of a good point, splitting vote actually gives you a better chance for the candidate you really want, I think. Especially when the other three are splitting it literally. So whatever's left over, they're going to be splitting. I'm telling you now. So what I'm hoping to see is 40% for me and 20% for each one of them. That's our goal, really. But we know we can still do it with 32% or 32 to 34%. That would win us that, but I still think we can win with as little as 26%. I know it's crazy, but I know we can. See, Oregon Capital Chronicle states Drazen got 22.7% of primary votes. Yep, 0.3% of bragging rights. Yeah, like I said, the number that I have when we did the calculations, it comes up 23%, but I don't know what they're counting exactly. About Rod Taylor, man up and come talk to you on Saturday. No, Rod. You mean Rod or Rob? There's Rod Taylor running for county commissioner and Rob Taylor of the Rob Taylor reports. But I was out there talking to a whole lot of people. Let's see. We put Facebook jail inmate. Yeah, we got a lot of Facebook inmates here. That's for sure. Old Dale's just got put in Facebook jail for 3 days. Won't be able to comment. Oh, man. 2.7 million for 22.7% of the vote. Well, guess what did Jessica Gomez spend? She spent a lot of money. And she barely broke over 1%. Wow. I mean, hold on. I gotta go back to it. Let's see. Gomez. Yeah, she got 2.7% or 9,970 votes for all the money that she spent. You see, guys, she's a Democrat, and Republicans aren't stupid. And we've been exposing, we spent a lot of time exposing a lot of different candidates. And by the way, that includes Stan Pulliam, Bridget Barton, Bud Pierce. Oh my gosh, I couldn't even believe he was running in the race at all. He spent a lot of money. He barely got 8.9%. The one that spent probably the least of everybody was Thielman. Yeah, he still did 30,000 votes, but that's really not enough to carry you into the governor's race deal. McQuiston at 7.7%. Like I said, Gomez at 2.7%. See, guys, let me tell you something. It's really not money. If you're not a good candidate, if you're not somebody that can be trusted or is trustworthy, that creates problems. If you have a history that's going to literally create major issues with the voters and they know about it or they eventually learn about it, you're done, So all these things have to be taken into account. But there are people that, look at how many criminals we actually have in office. I'm not a criminal at all. And look what I've been up against, right? Yeah. Just a bunch of people that said, well, I'm a victim. And because I'm a victim and I'm a woman, you got to listen to everything I say and believe everything I say without any evidence. That's what I've been up against. So for the naive people that bought into that stuff without questioning it. Oh, come on, guys. I know you're smarter than that. Let's see. Goku on a buffalo. So I'd love to see you in the Oval Office. Wow. So many truths coming out there. If you were in, oh yeah. Shake up the entire world, and I'd piss a lot of people off. See, right now, I figure I already have a big target on my back with the Chinese. And they're going to work against me every which way they can. And there were people trying to claim that Solomon Yu and the Chinese were backing my campaign. Trust me, no, they're not. Not even a single penny. And even if they did, I would not accept it. Yeah, the whole child sex trafficking deal, none of them are touching it. See, listen, guys, let's just assume that Tina Kotek and Betsy Johnson and Christine Drazen are all against human and sex trafficking, child trafficking, all that, okay? Let's just pretend they are. They've been in the legislature. They have to know what's going on, and thus they should speak out against it. So why don't they? One possibility is that they are in fear for their life. They understand who these people are, and the last thing they want is those people after them in some capacity. Well, then that would disqualify you from being governor material. Maybe perhaps they don't believe it. They ignore it. Yeah, that's not good either. See, as governor, your job is to pay attention to everything that's going on and address things as they come, and represent your people and protect them at all, if at all possible, which it should be. And that's what should be done. So, yeah, there's a couple of problems I got with all of them, not to mention all the other representatives in the legislature. Think about it, guys. Who amongst them actually talks about the child and sex trafficking in Oregon? We know it's going on. Law enforcement says, yeah, it's going on, but you know what? Okay, guys, I don't even think I could be a police officer or a sheriff, because if I was, oh man, you remember Walking Tall? Yeah, I'd be the one carrying the baseball bat. Yeah, that would be me. There we go. Ballot Superintendent of Schools, State Executive Office. Yep. See, we don't want to pay for sales tax either, but we are. Well, and here's the key, Angeline. The only legal tax you can actually impose on the people is sales tax. Okay, that's the only legal one. Income tax, property tax, both of those have to go away. And once we do that, the nice thing is that anybody that passes through Oregon, and that whole arrangement has got to be reevaluated. The state of Oregon should not be profiting from the sale of alcohol. I don't like this idea that, well, Oregon owns all the alcohol and they decide what the prices are, and then they tax it. Well, that ain't right. The state of Oregon government is not in the business of alcohol or tobacco. Hey, listen, I understand you have to pay people to run that to make sure everybody's staying in bounds and not giving alcohol to minors and all that type of stuff. But beyond that, no. Nope. We're not doing that. So, but like I said, we get rid of the property tax, get rid of the income tax, and then we get our budget back under control, get our general fund under control, shrink our government a little bit, because believe me, it's way fat. OHA, literally almost the whole thing could totally go away, and you would not miss it. Okay. Hey, Jackie, good to see you. Well, so he's in Facebook. Well, he was just commenting earlier. I can see him. Cable Theater also has ad spots on their screens. Just an idea there too. Well, thank you, Goku. I like that. That's a good place to go call. Man, do people still go to movie theaters these days? You know, do you have to go in like a bubble? Face mask. It's a really good idea. And I'm a movie guy, so that kind of works for me. So as I get funds, right now we're trying to make sure we're gosh, I think I have maybe about 2,000 business cards left over of my last 5,000 order, and we're gonna have to order some more. And also, I just ran out of ink, so I got to buy more ink so I can print out more flyers and be ready to go for any event I'm going to. Let's see, but I like that. Thank you. Good idea. Just sent you the info on Billboard in Portland to your Telegram. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you very much. I looked at the Oregon China Council website and wasn't able to find the names of the triplets. Yeah, what it is they're not listing any names, Sherry. They used to. I know. I've seen it. It used to be there, but it's not there now. Why? Because it does not help any of them in their reelection bid. And right now, like I said, if Drazen didn't support it and all the others did, Drazen would be on them like flies on rice, right? Yep. I know it's different. It's white on rice or white on rice on a paper plate in a snowstorm. Yeah. Big time. Drazen supports it. She has always supported it. So Kotek broke Oregon law prohibits from promising something of value to induce a candidate to stop running a campaign. Yeah, that was a big no-no. The thing is, the Secretary of State Elections Division, they're not going to enforce it. They're going to give her a little fine, slap on the hand, something like that. The Attorney General is not going to do anything. No. Then you do my job. This is his surprise telling me he hasn't fulfilled any of his campaign tough talk. So I'm not sure who you were talking about there. Did you do my job? Yeah, see, that's a cop-out. It's like if you're in there doing your job, and honestly, listen, the job of a legislator, right, whether it's in the House or the Senate, most people don't understand. They don't have the time to go and investigate or go watch any videos or do that stuff. I get that. But I can already make suggestions to these guys to help them out. It's like, listen, if you're outnumbered, you're outgunned. What do? You get creative. You want to win? You get creative. And the best way to win against politicians, get all the dirt on them you possibly can. Hang them by their own petard. There you go. That's what you do. They say, well, that's dirty politics. Oh, give me a break. Think about it. Don't you want to know who your representative is? If they're actually doing things on behalf of you and they're not beholden to somebody else that they're not supposed to be beholden to, right? To me, that's important. Somebody says, well, you're just mudslinging. When I'm talking about somebody's personal record or something about the individual that literally interferes with them representing people that you can't trust, criminal record, right? Kidnapping a baby. Yeah, these are issues that are kind of important. These matter. It tells you the status of that person. Listen, we've been talking about this, human and child trafficking. We have a candidate that's going to be on the ballot that actually kidnapped a baby. It was stopped at the door of the hospital as she was exiting. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Yeah, not any of the top three. Don't worry about this other one. No one's going to vote for her. But that's the reality. That's the truth. And I always keep telling people, and I told the Constitutional Party of Oregon leadership this way back when I first got involved with them. I said, listen, you guys have to screen and vet your candidates. Make sure they're legitimate candidates. And if they're not, tell them no. Sorry, you're not legitimate. You're not a Constitutional Party member. You're not this. You're not that. You're not representing us, whatever it is, but it has to be something pretty serious. Now, once somebody here's something else, though. Once somebody joins a party and you want to announce your candidacy for any office, nobody can stop you. It's illegal. Oregon state law. Okay? And effectively, that's another law that the leadership of the Oregon Republican Party actually violated in regards to myself, Michael Stetler, Tom Zoll, and Caleb Abel. Oh, yeah. They've broken so many friggin' laws. It's just nonstop with those morons. So not to worry. All things in time. There's other more important things to do right now, but that can be addressed later, and it will be. Might as well be Betsy Drazen. Yeah. Actually, that was a good, yeah, that was perfect. Perfect. Let's see. Oh, Bentz. She was talking about Bentz. Yeah, Bentz. This guy, he's like in slow motion, right? There's no real intensity about the guy at all. And it's obvious he's coming to the end of his rope. I think even it's like this. What career field has the greatest number of suicides? Dentists. Well, that's weird. Dentists make so much money. They like own their own islands and stuff, right? They do very well. And what you learn is that I learned this from my brother because he's a hygienist and he refuses to become a dentist. He'd be a perfect dentist, but he doesn't even want to go that route at all. And what he said was that, well, most dentists, when they come into their first practice and everything, and they get a new assistant who's also becomes like the office manager. Invariably, it's such a close relationship. They get married. Okay. And then that person is the manager, runs everything, gets other people hired, grows the business, and does all that. And then they have all the insurance claims. And those things are always padded illegally. And the wife will pretty much keep pushing it because, hey, no, it's good to go. Everybody does this. It's good. But the dentist is not a criminal. He doesn't have that mentality. He doesn't have that connection. But the problem is he does know about what they're taking in. Okay. And as this progresses and gets to a certain point, a dentist gets to the point, it's like, man, if I get caught, I lose my license, I lose my career, I lose everything. And they can't handle that. It's too much for them. A lot of criminals, it's all about just getting away with it, right? A lot of them accept it. Well, I got busted, I got caught. Oh, well. Well, dentists aren't like that. And they get caught, man, their whole life goes away. And it's too much to bear. It gets to that point, and they finally end it before it can catch up with them. Or it's about catching up with them, and they do it. And then the manager, the wife, makes out like a bandit because it gets blamed on the dead guy. There you go. That's how that works. All right, Terry, thanks a lot. I'm going to have to wrap this up here. Yeah, the Constitution Party, not the Republican Party. Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to find where she was talking. There we go. Yeah. Okay. But basically, Constitution Party is no more, really. It's blown apart at the seams. And people came in, they manipulated it truly. They undermined what it was there to be and do. But there were already people within the party leadership that were already actually doing that. And this was really the first time they really got called on the carpet, and they lost. Okay. And then our Secretary of State would not enforce the same laws on this next month. Yeah. Failure of our Secretary of State Elections Division. And when I become governor, that'll probably be the first department I go clean out. Yeah. It's going to have to happen. And many people will have to be fired for cause because they literally put the state of Oregon in a position to lose in court, and that would cost a lot of money. Yeah. Obviously, though, they're probably taking orders from somebody else, but either way, we find out exactly who's involved, and then we make it transparent to the public. Best way to deal with those things. So anyway, folks, thank you for being here. Please spread the word. If you need information, send me an email, give me a quick call, send me a text, and let me know what it is you want or what you need. I can send you the whole mess. It's a lot of information, but when you go through it, you can figure out what you can use, what you want. Also, you have the option. You can go have your own signs made, and you can put paid for by, Jane Smith, Joe Smith, John Smith, whatever you want. You can do that. There's nothing that stops you from that. Okay. And Shana's IP address is still blocked from going into the Constitution. Wow, that's really weird. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Sherry. God bless you guys. God bless all of you. Sleep well. Don't give up. Don't surrender. But like I said, please, I'm begging you, make that extra effort to talk to everybody you know and get them to write me in for governor. We can win this. We really, really can. We could potentially win this with as little as 26%. But we're looking for that 34%. That's a magic number. We hit that, we win. And we can fight it anywhere in the state where they try to cheat too. So the numbers are there. And with the turnout we're expecting, they're not even going after the non-affiliated voter vote. We are. Okay? So keep that in mind. In the meantime, good night. So long, farewell. Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. Sleep well, folks.